And I always had this कि मैं जो माल किसी खरीदूंगा उसी को वो माल बेचूंगा.
So how have you moved from being sitting in one place to reaching out to the consumers? Because you're not an Amazon, but you're still trying to be an Amazon.
So now you're smart lighting. You're smart lighting, you're mood lighting. Now you can change the light as per your mood also.
At the same time, China has moved up the ladder from what is known as 6 months of kaam karega.
And they are very, very biased about the big brands.
Okay.
I know it's a big statement, but...
And in terms of when you say labor and when you say the skills, and I heard you speaking somewhere when you said India has plenty of skills.
They have a very committed labor,
Okay.
skillful labor. India is evolving there. Now we have much better labor than what we had earlier, but there's still a long way to go.
Welcome to Conversations on HYBIZ. My name is Suresh Kochat. Light, they say, is life. And surely, the way lighting industry has changed over the years speaks volumes about the way this business has evolved. From simple stuff to very complicated. From energy consuming to energy saving. There's been a lot of changes. No one better to speak about this than Arvind Srimal, MD of FortuneArrt, who has been in this business for over 4 decades now. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Namaskar.
Namaskar, sir.
Arvind, let us start with the basics. What made you get into this industry?
I started my career started working in a lighting company 45 years back. That was my brother-in-law's company. And subsequently, I was trading in lighting. And I always had this कि मैं जो माल किसी खरीदूंगा उसी को वो माल बेचूंगा. That drives my company.
They say in England, that's like taking the coal back to Newcastle. That is where the coal used to come from. Unko ek coal becho wapas. But
So that was my thing, hidden secret all my life.
so when you started initially, you said you started with your brother-in-law's company, and when you wanted, those days lighting would not have been a priority at all. It was a
just
very
a basic item.
stuff. But what are the lessons you learned during that time in terms of retailing this business?
Those days and these days, there's a lot of differences there. In those days, lighting was just a small budget item used to be there. And it was when we're selling, even in those days, a little expensive product was very difficult. So we used to cater to just the basic need material was there. But lots changed in last 15 years after LED has come into the market.
So let's look at the Indian housing as such, because one of the biggest consumers of yours would be housing, and then of course industrial too.
Yeah.
But way India has developed, the Indian real estate market has developed over the years, from just owning a small house with basic lighting, a tube light or lights, to small chandeliers, to moving into bigger chandeliers, and then of course moving into saving power bills by having LED. The same goes for factories also.
Yeah.
There's a huge pushback against huge consumption, energy consumption, getting into solar, trying to save power units. So the way the technology has changed from those days of where you used to have incandescent lamps to now you have LED.
So now you're smart lighting. You're smart lighting, you're mood lighting. Now you can change the light as per your mood also.
So when you look at that industry, that's exactly what I'm trying to now ride that journey with you. So from say, when you go back and say, okay, 1980s when you started.
Yeah.
And those days, what was the basic technology like?
Basic, there's no technology till... Basic used to be tube light, bulb, and some small fixtures. That was the total market.
The Raniganj area where you operate from is known as kind of Hyderabad's market for everything.
For everything,
From
correct.
pipes to lights to generators, you name it.
Everything.
From pin to an elephant, you'll get it there.
Yes.
Now, when you started in that area, and today when you look at where the showrooms have evolved, most of the times you need to be where the consumer is.
Exactly.
So how have you moved from being sitting in one place to reaching out to the consumers? Because you're not an Amazon, but you're still trying to be an Amazon.
Yeah. What happens is, earlier we had one secret. If the customer wants something, bring the showroom to the customer's place. There's been a funda for the last 40 years. Whenever you have a requirement, we send entire sample. We have a set of technical people who knows how to explain and give them a solution for the product. So we move, when you get a requirement, we send the entire samples to you. So you don't have to come to us.
So in terms of the buying pattern, as you can call it, if I may correct that word, buying tendencies buying habits, there is also a change.
Yeah.
Big need not be always better.
Yeah.
It can be the small ones can also be better. So in terms of buying products, when you look at the way, I'll just start with, before I get into the cables part of it, I'll just get into the lighting part of it. You started by being a dealer for companies from whom
Correct.
you're buying and selling.
Correct.
But I'm sure deep inside you, there must have been a thought that one day I will sell it back to the same guys.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yeah.
So how was that? How did that thought evolve?
See, one thing is two things the customer needs. One, he needs quality. Second, he needs price.
Okay.
So if I make myself, I'm sure of the quality what I'll give you. And if I make it myself and able to sell it to the person who I bought, that means my price is very, very competitive.
So when you look at a market like Hyderabad, and when you look at India as a market, and then you look at the big daddy of the competition, which is China.
Yeah.
China dumps everything from steel to you know what.
Everything.
Okay, solar and lamps and everything they have. At the same time, China has moved up the ladder from what is known as 6 months of kaam karega to now high-end products.
Correct.
Today we are looking at the way US is dealing with China in terms of trade, saying that we'll slap sanctions on you, we'll increase the tariffs on you. What, according to you, are the lessons that we need to learn from the Chinese manufacturers? Because there would be lessons, obviously. We can't say they are bad everywhere. There must be something. Is it low prices because of low wages?
One advantage they have is their labor. They have a very committed labor.
Okay.
Skillful labor. India is evolving there. Now we have much better labor than what we had earlier, but there's still a long way to go.
And in terms of when you say labor and when you say the skills, and I heard you speaking somewhere when you said India has plenty of skills. So today, but when I look at some of my clients whom I deal with in terms of, they're saying we don't have industrial welders in Hyderabad. But I'm sure that that industry is evolving as such. But when you look at when you set up your own manufacturing unit, what was the strategy then?
See, 15 years back when I set up my factory, we had a lot of challenges in India to set up. But today, slowly it's becoming eco-friendly. We have started getting a lot of products in India itself, which is still a long way to go, but still it's become more comfortable than what it used to be 15 years back.
You're saying setting up an industry today is easier than what it was when you
Yeah,
set it up.
100%. It's very easy.
But what were the challenges, sir?
We don't get components. For everything we used to depend to China or some other parts of country to get the components. Then getting the delivery on time, getting prices on time. So the end products will never become very competitive. But now that's evolving. And Indian market is now growing at some speed which is unbelievable good it is.
But do you think that there is a huge enough market still in India, or should we start exporting also?
Time is next few years you'll find India like a volcano erupting and so India is exporting all over the world. It's just a matter of time.
And exporting to China too?
That's a big challenge, but it's not also impossible.
Not impossible.
Yeah.
So when you look at the other part of your business, which is cables,
Yeah.
can you just take us through what that industry is? Because unlike lighting, cables is not so well
See,
known.
because of the lighting business, we have one thing very common. With innovation, you have to do to survive. In lighting, without innovation, you're nowhere. Because an innovation at today's speed is something is about 100 days is the life of a product. So after every 100 days, you have to get a new lighting product has to come, more efficient, more energy saving, more smarter. In cable, we didn't have that. But last few years, we have got into a new innovation called fire survival cables.
Okay.
And that's going to hit the market by storm.
So how did you start by, how did you start by setting up a unit like that?
No, what happened is we heard that our Lok Sabha, the new thing, they have used fire survival cable.
Okay.
So that ignited us and they imported the cable.
Okay.
So something when you import, and I'm in the business for 40 years of getting it and then making it in India. I said, why don't we make it in India?
Atmanirbhar.
Then we called some engineers, we did a lot of research. It took us almost about 8-9 months. Now we are completely ready for, and one thing important, quality and also the price. Because if I have got to make a product, it has to be very, very aggressively priced. And quality, it should be real, reliable quality. So we have done that homework. Maybe next month we should be out in the market with fire survival cable. And that's going to be a game changer.
So when you say game changer, when you're saying about cables as such, how much does a normal consumer, I can understand an industrial consumer, the buying manager, they will know it, the purchase manager, they will have a certain knowledge. But for an ordinary Indian consumer, when he's trying to build a house and when he wants to buy the cables, how much of education do you have to do?
If it's a new product, yes, it's a big challenge. We have our own demo vans. We have a technical people set up. We have a solution that we bring the showroom to your place, and we explain you the product. And then once the customer sees the product, he's more or less inclined to buy the product.
Because you're seeing today a large number of tragedies taking place. There's one that happened in Hyderabad recently, where people overuse certain electrical appliances beyond the capacity. They use wires which are not ISI standard or BIS standard as of now. Quality-wise, they make a compromise for the price. What's your advice to people who are trying to build a house or even redoing the wiring for their old houses?
No, you should buy good quality products. And I'll tell you one thing. If you buy a wire for your house, it will just cost you 80 to 90 rupees a square foot, which is very negligible amount. And if you buy a fire survival cable, it's 20 rupees extra a square foot for your house. And then your house is totally safe.
It's like an insurance.
See, like an insurance, yeah.
So when you really talk about, and when you spoke about the wiring part of it, and now you have the lighting part of it, the industry as such is dependent on contractors when you look at big projects. And is your brand, when you're talking about making your own stuff, obviously you are actually able to reduce the cost a lot, rather than buying from a third party and trying to sell it. What are the economics of setting up a unit? How much does it cost to set up a unit like what you did?
LED.
LED, let us start with
LED, today if you want to set up a unit, it will cost you minimum 15 to 20 crores. And cable, if you want to set up a good unit, it will cost you about 50 crores.
Okay. Now when you talk of LED as a business, and I've seen this, I mean, I have traveled extensively in places like Kaziranga, for example. Deep into the Kaziranga forests, you have almost traveled 80 kilometers, and the only thing that survives there is LED due to the solar factor there. Do you think over time has come now that you will see rural household also trying to adapt and use LED lighting because of the subsidy they're getting?
It's already happened, sir.
Okay.
Everyone is using only LEDs today. They're very affordable, they're long life, they're durable, and they're energy efficient.
Yeah, you can see that being used here also.
Everywhere, everywhere.
Now, the advantage of LED, when you explain to a consumer with a normal, of course, nobody uses a regular tube light, even tube lights have become LED now. And vis-a-vis the old 60 watt, 100 watt bulbs that we used to use.
All gone.
They're gone.
They're all gone.
So, when you're talking to that industry, when you're talking to a rural household, for example, urban, you can still convince them.
Today, even the rural people, they come for LED only.
So they are aware of it?
They are aware of it. And now the only thing in the today's smart market, the up-end market, is high lumens per watt. So they are much more energy efficient than what it used to be earlier. So LED is becoming more competitive to LED itself.
Okay. Now, you've been in this business for 40 years now, and you've seen the way it has changed in terms of the consumer demand, the consumer perspective, and your way of selling the product. For the consumer coming to you going to the consumer now. But when the next generation takes over, you have two daughters, and one of them is deeply involved in the cable business, I believe. So,
she's now handling both the business, cable and LED, but more on cables.
Okay. So, how does the next generation deal with the business as different as they're from you? You can't really say they are the same, but of course they are your bloodline. They will have that genes in them. But how do you ensure that you handhold them for the first few years and then let them go?
See, one thing is when it comes to economics, I have to handle them and explain it to them. But coming to marketing strategy, today, very honestly, they're better than us.
Yeah, that we're seeing in every industry.
They're much better than us, and their thought processes and their vision is what it was. We couldn't even dream of it, and they're able to deliver it.
So why is it that you feel that the Indian industry, as it evolves today, from say, as again I'm going back to the opening up of the Indian economy in the 90s to where it is today, what are the difference that you're seeing from the government support?
Huge. Earlier, government never should listen. They used to have license raj. Today, government is open to anything. In fact, sometimes it thinks government has become more like private person. It's slowly going towards that direction.
So from Rahul Bajaj selling what he himself used to call as third-rate scooters to eco bikes today that you have, the world has changed. But when it comes to particularly lighting business as such, let us just take a layman like me through what are the various options today in terms of when you're setting up a house. So it's like you're making a sales pitch now.
See, in your house you can have basic lighting. You can have, see, we call these lightings into subjects like you have basic lighting, you have ambient lighting, you have mood lighting, and then you have got decorative lighting. Decorative lighting earlier used to be chandeliers. Now you can put it on a table, you can put it where you feel you want to do it, you can do it. Lighting is the way you want it. You can design your lighting the way you want it, the color you want it, the dimness, brightness, smartness, everything is available. And most important, all this at a very, very affordable price. Which 20 years back, what you used to pay for a basic lighting, you're going to get a smart lighting today's market.
Okay. Chandeliers used to be
I recall one thing. In 1980, we used to sell a tube light set for 140 rupees.
Okay.
A good box type fitting, which were today the similar fitting, after 45 years, we sell it for 90 rupees.
So that's how the prices come down to. Government of India also introduced a scheme where they, in the initial days, 4-5 years ago, before COVID, where they wanted to bring, they were giving lights literally free to the consumers, saying the shift to LED, the push to LED as such. You look at Cochin Airport, for example, the entire thing is LED plus their solar. Their entire thing runs on solar. Do you think, in terms of housing and industrial, what would be the percentage of business coming from housing sector and how much would be coming from the industrial sector?
See, housing sector definitely will have 70% of the market share and 30% will be industrial market. But industrial market also is very, very huge. It's very huge.
So let us take housing now and let us look at starting from apartments to gated communities and then ultra luxurious community. Who takes the decision in buying there?
If it's a middle class thing, the owner of the house takes the decision. If it's ultra luxury houses and villas and all that, then there's a consultant.
So how do you deal with these two people? There is a guy who's...
Consultant is a bit difficult because they do buyers with the big brands. So that's a big challenge for us. It's a very big challenge for us.
So when you say big brands, they go for big names.
They go for big names. They will not listen to you.
Okay. What will convince you to one day sell it to them?
I don't know. We're working very hard towards that.
So when you
very difficult, sir.
It's like Nirma competing with Surf at one time.
And they are very, very biased about the big brands.
Okay.
I know it's a big statement, but
yeah, that's it. I think that is where it is because it's a David.
They should give a hearing to the small industry. The big consultants have to do that.
David versus Goliath kind of battle.
Yeah, it's a big battle.
Yeah, because when you see government encouraging small industries to come up, especially the MSMEs to come up, the only way MSMEs can survive is by getting orders from big government agencies, from big companies, and of course getting paid in time for that. That is extremely important.
That's a big challenge.
So when you look at the cable business now, let us finish with the lighting part of it. Unless I missed something, you can call me back on that. But I'm in the cable business. When you look at industrial sector as such, how different is that from the home sector?
See, if there are cable industry, both are similar, but the large section is more in industrial market.
Yes, sir.
The industrial market is a larger...
So what does that industrial market consist of? What kind of cables do they use? And what do they use it for actually?
Everything, every motor, every machine, everything requires a cable to do it.
Yeah.
Without cable, you can't. Even your house, it requires, if you look in the one way, your minimum wiring cost will be 100 rupees a square foot. Your lighting could be just as low as 20 rupees a square foot. There's 5 to 10 times the market size of...
So when you look at the safety aspect of it today, I mean, everybody insists that BIS standards or other standards are to be followed in this. And that is there across the spectrum.
Across the brand,
it is
all brands.
From ladders to wiring to everything that is there today, industry, unless otherwise your insurance doesn't get covered for it. But do you think again there, unlike, as you said, a consultant speaking to you
Similar
from the household sector, in terms of convincing the managing director or the chairman or even the guy down the line, the vice president purchase, how is the challenge there also in terms of where do they buy it from? Do they buy it from China or do they come to you and say, okay, I'll buy it from you?
No, cables is purely an Indian market. There's no China intervention in that.
Okay.
But the big problem we have again here is a consultant.
Okay.
The consultant, they will not, they have so biased, they have just 5-6 brands or 8 brands, plus usme hi maal lena hai. So they don't want to give openings to the small industry. Once they do that, Indian industry will boom.
Then comes the question. Should the government now say that in the procurement policy, like they have the policy, online policy on GEM portal, where you can put up your products and the PSUs and even the government agencies are supposed to buy from
we have no much problem with government. The consultant problem is basically only with the private industry. Government, they are open. Once your data sheet matches, the specs matches, they are willing to open for any brand. But the consultants, they are not open to any brand.
Okay. So when
If they give a scope, it's not for this product, for the whole India nation as such. It's going to be a big boom for India.
do you think the industry should get together, the entire cable and lighting industry should get together like CII does, lobbying with the government and saying, look, let us work with this industry. So, for example, Credai Hyderabad is there. Let's work with them and say that, look, boss, start encouraging small domestic manufacturers.
The big bulls won't allow it to happen.
Okay.
It won't happen.
Somewhere along the way, government
See, government is easy now. Government is open to idea that we should encourage every industry. There's quality is good, price is good, give them the order. But not in the private industry.
How has your business grown over the years? Like, it was started from a very low level, obviously.
Yeah.
And then it has grown over there. Now, when you talk of, one is the growth, second is the margins. Is there a squeeze on the margins as growth comes up?
Yeah, there is definitely a squeeze in margins.
Okay. But what would be the kind of, when you talk of the industry as such, how mature has this industry turned out from the basic days? I'm talking about lighting and the cable also.
See, there's one thing which is very earlier it was price oriented, now it's quality and price. Earlier quality was not a priority at all for any consumer. Just price अच्छा है माल ले लो. But now it's not that.
So when a customer walks down the RP road and then onward towards the Raniganj road and all that, there are so many lighting stores that are there on that roads, even on MG road for that matter. But when you are trying to educate a consumer like me, for example, and the other day I had a painting, on top of that there was a lamp fixed. It got fused. It worked very well for, I think, almost 15 years. And when I went to Raniganj area, the first challenge is, of course, parking. But once you get over with that, you try and go and buy this product. The guy was so saying, ye hai, le lo. He was pitching to me on price. But I said, look, I am willing to pay for quality. Tell me this thing will work for 5 years or 6 years. And this will reflect good on the lighting that is, painting that is below on that. Do you think in terms of, and we see this in car showrooms, car salesmen are supposed to be the best salesmen in the world. They can literally sell you the car, even if you have come with a prefixed notion in mind. Do you think the art of selling, as much as you would have and your next generation has, do you think at the shop floor level also, there's a lot of training that goes into trying to sell this product?
We have training sessions around the year going on. We have specific trainers employed by us in the company. So training has to be a process. See, training is not only on selling, sweet selling, it also there's a lot of quality and standards are improving day by day to educate the customer of the new things which are happening. It's a lot of innovations happening every day, every hour something is happening. So we have a full set training session, and we have a 3 days a week, 8:30 to 9:30, we have a training session in the office.
Where do you get your ideas for new products from? Is it from looking at the European markets, looking at...
Me and my daughter travel a lot, and we are always hunting for new products. We look at the product, we learn from the products, and then we come back to our factory, and then we see what all things we can do to improve our product.
So is design become a big part of today's product?
Yeah. Design, aesthetic, durability, price, all are very important.
All the 4 factors.
All the factors. And luckily we have a very good team of technical people in our company.
And when you talk of technical people, in terms of getting these people also, in terms of trained manpower, today skilled manpower is a big challenge. But I guess over the years, government has also invested a lot into skill development. As I often keep joking, it's very difficult to get a plumber or a carpenter or electrician. You can get a software engineer very easily. If you go and throw a stone at the United States of Amirpet, you will get a software engineer. It will fall on their head. But do you think this industry also, your industry I'm speaking, and maybe you definitely would have a body which is representing all of you, needs to come up with training programs to ensure that there is a steady talent pool supply that is there?
Yeah, we should have a lot of training institutes. And government is coming up with training institutes. But also as a private company, we take a lot of investment on our training part of it.
So when you spoke of technology in terms of the machinery again, which goes into the production of your cables and the lighting, is it again sourced from the domestic market?
No, not all the machines. Machines, it's basically we import the machines.
Okay.
Because one very important thing is for us is to become, the machines have become very efficient for quality. So basically most of the machines we outsource it outside.
So there again is a big opportunity. Because today what is happening is that I was speaking to you about robotic welding machines just now, some time back. We used to import from China. Many of my clients whom I know, now they're saying we'll make it here.
It takes some time. But yes, see, one thing is important is happening in India is the new generation, they're all looking for something new. And that's a great boon to India. Like you just said, robotic welding machine when we are planning to buy.
Okay.
And we had some Indian options. So we are just looking out and maybe we'll settle for an Indian option.
No, I mean, it is just that the Chinese are way ahead of us in the game from a long time. We are also playing catch up with them now in terms of trying to bring the products to India. And I'm sure, as you see in the defense sector today, where Atmanirbharta has become a big part of it, 70 to 80% of what we used to import, and India being the biggest importer, is now being made in-house. Now the same thing, again, when we come to an industry which is more domestic and industrial at one end, lighting at that end, then this end. Do you see more Atmanirbharta happening across? I mean, you have set up your own plants, but how about the rest of the industry?
So it's happening in big way. Indians basically, culturally are entrepreneurs. Every Indian is an entrepreneur. जुगाड़ू है वो.
Yeah, वो तो है.
ठीक है. वो बहुत बड़ा skill है. Moment like we go out, we look at the samples. We bring the samples and we make it in India. So many entrepreneurs copy the product and they make it cheaper than us. So I can be sure shot. In next 5 or 10 years, you won't be surprised that India exporting to China.
Which is what I started.
वो जो जुगाड़पना जो Indians के अंदर है, वो बहुत बड़ा boon है India के लिए. Everything they make it cheaper and they make it faster. I can tell you for one example, we used to import a lot of street lights, floodlights from China. Even I don't think there's any more lighting imported from that segment getting from China anymore in India. India has not made it good, they made it cheaper, they made it more better also. The only lacking where we have is electronic products.
Why?
We don't have a setup here. And that's happening very fast. Maybe it's just a matter of 2-3 years. Because what I heard is a lot of large companies are coming into wafers and electronic products. Once we get into that, and that day it will turn India into another
So
game.
that's where the chips, not the eating ones, but the lighting ones and the car and other things. Because today we're talking of shortage of magnets, for example, from China for to be put into cars and motorbikes and other things. Today rare earth is a big challenge again. So I'm sure that when you talk of lighting as a product, and as you evolved from incandescent 60 watt, 40 watt bulb to where we are today, where is the future now? What's the future of lighting looking like?
More efficient, so much more efficient. Like today when we started LED, it was 70 lumens a watt. Graduated to 150. Today it's 200 lumens a watt. So same watt you're spending and you're getting much more yield than what you used to do. So this is going to continue to happen.
Young couples who buy apartments are quite different from their parents, or even the big houses or gated communities they can afford and they're buying. Their tastes are varied. They have seen catalogs of European markets. They have seen in movies, they have seen in advertisements, they have seen everywhere. And they come up and ask you 101 questions, I'm sure, as to why can I get this or can I not get this? What is that market like? Because they're a different market. I'm not talking of the contractors or anybody right now. The direct home consumer at a certain age, 28 to 35, is speaking to you.
No, it's a little different from what you put a question. Today, the young generation look into the internet. They do all the research there and they buy it in the net.
Okay. So they don't even come to the shop.
They don't even come to the shop. Or they can just have some queries. They do a video calling to us and it's all settled. Maybe they come or maybe they not come. Because they learn very fast. And they do all their research much more than what we do, the selling part of it.
So how about you setting up a virtual room for them to buy?
Yeah, we are almost on that.
Because e-commerce is a big business today.
Yeah, we are almost there.
And lighting actually can be sold online first.
Yes, it can be sold
as
online.
A concept.
You can have an experience of it online also.
So, if you touch and switch on a product, it switches on and then you start talking to them. Because, as they say, the young generation is very impulsive.
Yeah.
They have very less time.
No, they are not impulsive. They are smart and impulsive.
Yeah.
No, impulsive is only to save their time.
Yeah. Instagram was made for them because they don't talk, they don't listen beyond 30 seconds. After that, it's gone. So, this is where the entire thing is all about. I'm speaking from practical experience of dealing with my daughter and others. They don't have time for big lectures. जो बोलना है जल्दी बोलो खत्म करो kind of thing. So
and don't repeat it also.
Yes, sir.
And don't repeat it also.
Don't repeat it also. When you're talking to that generation, I'm again talking of they call it by different genres. They call it Gen Y, Gen X, all that kind of stuff. But we are talking purely from a perspective of a young audience that have been exposed to different cultures and they've been exposed to different options. Because your challenge is going to be there. I'm sure that the way you thought of it 40 years ago is not what they're thinking of
anymore. No.
So you did talk about how moving in there. But as you look to the road ahead, I'm not talking of 20 years. Let's just look at the next 5 years. Where do you think? You already spoke about how the industry is going to evolve. But is there any sectors that you feel that you should be in that you're not in right now, where you're planning to get in? Unless it's a business secret.
No. Solar and LED put together. So even you don't even pay for your electricity bill. That's...
Again, solar is a place where government is again giving a huge subsidy.
Yeah, but solar output efficiency is still not there. So it's just a matter of time where even your electricity bill is paid by the solar bill.
Yeah, because if an airport can be run entirely with solar.
So like that's going to happen and it's going to become affordable and durable. Maybe we're just around the corner for it.
So when people talk about FortuneArrt as a venture, as a retail outlet, not a shop as I call it, but as a kind of display unit where you come and walk in and experience it. When Arvind Srimal ji looks at that, what would he like to be remembered for?
New products, reasonable prices.
2 points. Wonderful, sir. Wonderful talking to you. Thank you very much for sparing time and speaking to us at HYBIZ. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Arvind Srimal, who, as I mentioned before at the start of this conversation, knows lighting like back of his hand. Now with cables and other parallel products, he is moving ahead, creating new dimensions in this business. Thank you for watching. Jai Hind.